Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. We are so excited. We are in Plains, Georgia, and there is this wonderful celebration going on. It started yesterday in honor of our magnificent President Carter, who I have just so loved. I am one of his official groupies, and I know he's such a class act. That would never be something he would do. But I have been so excited about him ever since I was a young woman. He is definitely the crown jewel of Georgia and an American treasure. And I am so excited to have Chris, who actually worked for the president. Welcome, Chris.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm so happy that I really ran into you, so to speak. And you shared with me that you worked for President Carter.
Right.
Share with our audience what you did for the president.
Well, I was a personal aide for 10 years. He was first my Sunday school teacher.
Really?
And then I got a job working for him in Atlanta at the Carter Center when I graduated.
Okay, so you are from Plains.
I went to college in Americas.
Okay,
and he was my Sunday school teacher at that time. He had just left the White House.
Okay.
And that's how we first met.
Really?
And then after the 4 years of college, he came to my party and said, okay, I got a job working for you in Atlanta. That's what you want. So that's what I did.
That is such an honor.
So it was an honor.
Yes, and so to go from Plains to Atlanta, and then the president went from Atlanta to D.C., and then chose to come back to Plains.
Yeah.
That really speaks to his character and his humble spirit that we love so much.
He's always been home.
Yes, home is good.
That's
home
it.
is good. And so when you worked for the president, what did you do at that time?
Well, I first oversaw the replication of the Oval Office for a permanent exhibit in the museum of the Jimmy Carter Library.
Really?
And then once the Carter Center got dedicated, then I started working for him as director of correspondence. So I handled all of his mail, drafted his letters.
So that means that you are trustworthy.
I would hope so.
You opened the mail and drafted the letters, because he is a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
So that really speaks to your character as well, without saying.
It speaks to his character more, because to take somebody who couldn't even pass English in college, and I had to take remedial courses to get out of college, and he trusted me enough.
Well, he had faith in what you could be.
Well, he taught me how to write, and he was a great teacher.
Really?
And then I was able to go with him to Africa as he worked to eradicate disease, stop famine from happening in various areas, help poor farmers grow their food more efficiently. Was with him as he's working to eradicate guinea worm. And he wants to live long enough to see the last guinea worm eradicated from the face of the earth.
How amazing.
So I think he's getting his wish on that.
Yes, and you've traveled the world with him to see him working outside of politics.
Yeah, well, at least in Central Africa, I've got the privilege of traveling with him.
That is really just, I can't even find the words. It's almost like magical. I know he has a calling and an anointing on his life. We know that, because he's almost 100, and we're right knocking at the door of his 100th birthday here in a minute, as we would say. So, but just to go on and do all the things outside of being in the political spotlight, that says a lot about he and Mrs. Carter.
They worked 24/7, it seemed, on human rights, equal rights. Everything that they did every day was about the Carter Center or the Rosa Carter Institute for Family Caregiving, which is based at Georgia Southwestern State University.
Okay, which is America's.
It's in America.
Because we have friends in other parts of the world that will see this, as well as other parts of the country. So America's is just a skip and a hop down the road.
10 miles away.
10 miles away. And of course, Plains is a very quiet, humble town. If you're not really sure, you can just pass right through if you didn't see the big banners that say home of the 39th president, because we're in rural Georgia.
Exactly. Matter of fact, they used to have a stoplight out here. They've taken that down in recent years.
Oh,
so
really?
now it's back to where it was before he becomes president.
Oh, my
You can just
goodness.
drive
So
straight
we don't
through.
even have the caution light there anymore.
I think you got a yield sign, and I think that's about it.
How about that? So that speaks to how slow moving the community is. Because when you live in the big cities, it's crazy. You would never think of a place, if you're in New York, that it really exists where there isn't even a traffic light.
Correct.
Right. And so everybody knows everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows everybody, and it's like family.
Correct.
It's like family.
Yes, and they know your business too. That's what Mrs. Carter would say back in 1976 when
They
she
know
was
their
campaigning.
business, right.
And they asked her, I guess on the campaign trail, well, what's it like to live in Plains, Georgia? And she says, well, and then later to become president. Well, won't everybody know your business? She said, well, I've grown up in Plains, Georgia all my life. And she said, we know everybody, and everybody's always known what Jimmy and I have
Right,
always
even
done,
in their
so.
courtship. So there were no secrets. We didn't have to worry about any scandals or anything because everybody knew everybody and pretty much everybody's kind of related. So we always joke in the South, be careful because you might marry your cousin.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and so what are you going to do now going forward? I know I love that shirt, President Carter 100th birthday.
I bought that yesterday. This is great.
Yeah. So what are you going to do to continue the legacy?
Well, I left the Carter Center back in 1996 and moved to Florida, and I became a broadcast journalist at that time.
Okay.
And then moved on, and I worked for a city government down in Florida. So I want to keep busy until I'm retired. I only got 3 more years to go.
Okay.
But everything that I do, I carry the Carters in my heart.
Yes.
And everything I try to do is, after work, is volunteer and always trying to give.
And to keep that legacy. Because he trained you now. You said he was your Sunday school teacher, and then he taught you how to write so you could be his communications person.
Yeah. And that you've got the Jimmy Carter leadership class that's based at Georgia Southwestern State University.
Okay, I didn't know
10 miles
that.
away.
Okay.
And I volunteer at a place called Give Kids the World Village in Kissimmee, which is where the Make-A-Wish kids go when they wish to meet Mickey Mouse.
Right.
Well, now the Jimmy Carter leadership class, many of those students are going to go down there with me in 3 weeks, and we're going to practice, giving.
Yes.
We're just going to give of our time.
Yes.
Selfless giving is what we call it.
Like the president.
In the spirit of Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter.
Yes, because they were givers. I mean, you would see him with the hammer, with the habitat houses. And so he has a very rich legacy, something that's honorable and decent. And it's not where there's an agenda.
Right.
You know how some people are transactional.
Right.
He's not a transactional person, and that's why we so love and respect him.
Right, absolutely. And I will say this for his birthday. What he would say in Sunday school class, and what he did say, he says, do something for me. Would you go home and bake a cake, cut it in half, and take it to somebody you don't know?
Really?
Or shut in. So on his birthday, I'm not the family spokesperson, but I promise you that's what Jimmy Carter would say if you would do that for him.
Okay.
And that's spreading goodwill throughout the world.
Exactly. Each one reach one.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure for you to share your story. And we're going to try to get some more because we want all of our viewers, whether they're here in Georgia or stationed, my husband's former military, if they are in Germany, wherever they are, if they don't catch us on NBC 38, they can always catch our YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for sharing.
We appreciate your service.
All right, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Whole Patient Healthcare. Dr. Jada Rimes-Bacote is board certified in family medicine. She believes the best patient care includes practical, individualized lifestyle changes. Located at 1338 13th Avenue, Columbus, 706-641-2080, or visit wholepatienthealthcare.com. And welcome back to Straightforward. We are on location in Plains, Georgia, at the Plains Trading Post with our wonderful host, Philip. And Philip, you were sharing with me in a sidebar before we started that this is the largest...
We are the largest retail political memorabilia retail dealer in the United States. We start with Millage, Fillmore, and Lincoln. We have all the 2024, and everything is original.
Okay, and we have plenty of President Carter from every phase of politics, whether he was the governor, all the way through the presidency, and we can find it here.
We do have the governor buttons. One time I'm a political appraiser too, and one time I estimated there was 1,900 different Carter buttons, and we have about 1,100 different ones in stock. So we have a lot of Carters.
Really? Oh my goodness. So if you are a President Carter groupie like myself, this would be the place to come to get all of the keepsakes.
We even have Carter's favorite button here, which they've remarked many times and have gotten plenty of it. And when you see it, it's kind of funny.
Really, really. And you were sharing with me that you have had a relationship with President Carter for over 30 years.
That's correct.
How did that come to be?
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Okay, start at the beginning.
Originally, we were rushing to get open for a peanut festival. A matter of fact,
okay.
We were brand new in Plains, and I said to my wife, I wonder if the Carters really live here. We're sitting on the floor, we look up, and they come walking into the store to welcome us to the community.
So you just selected Plains to come here to open up this business. You were not born here.
We were in the D.C. area. We got in the car not knowing where we're going to go or what we're going to do, and we wanted a simpler life.
Talking about an adventure. So you left Washington, D.C., ended up in Southwest Georgia.
The D.C. area. I've lived all over the country. This is my second career.
Okay, your second career. Okay, and so this is what you decided to do to have a simpler life, is what you said.
This is why we moved to Southwest Georgia, for a simpler life.
Okay, and so you just randomly picked this place.
Well, it kind of picked us because I had no idea we'd be in Plains. And originally we were all Native American, and that stopped working. And then we went to antiques, and that stopped working. And then I had a 12-button political collection, and I said, wouldn't it be nice if I just brought it into show?
Really?
And everyone tried to buy it, and it expanded from there.
Wow. And so when you and your wife, it's Miss Ramona is her name? Miss Ramona, we met her today. Just wonderful, very hospitable. That's the wonderful thing about Southern hospitality. And you all were sitting on the floor getting things ready to open up this location.
And I had just said, I wonder if the Carters really lived here.
Really lived here. And then they came waltzing through the door.
Then they were looking up and were in shock. And then they welcomed us to the community, and they never stopped coming.
Really? So this is one of the normal places he would visit, he and Mrs. Carter.
Me and him would talk about politics.
Okay.
Quite often. When you talked to Rosalind about politics, you did more listening than talking.
Okay, because she had an opinion, smart lady.
Not opinion, but she wanted to express a point.
Right.
But their point was always that whether you were a Democrat or a Republican, you had to be a good person and doing good for people. Just because you were a Democrat didn't mean you would get their liking if you weren't a good person.
Exactly. So you had to have integrity, good character, and be a giver. And
the big thing is you had to be a giver.
You had to be a giver. Sowing into the lives of others and making it better for mankind and not just a taker.
I will say, in my relationship with them, I am a far better person than I was before I knew them.
Okay.
Because they just give you a good focus on life, on giving back and caring. That's always, he would come in here, and the first thing he'd want to know is, how's business?
That's a good thing.
What's going on? He'd want to get a rundown of what's going on. And originally, when we were here, it was a Sunday school economy.
Right.
There was very few businesses here.
Yes.
And we really depended on him teaching Sunday school. And he wanted there to be, so to say, Plains to exist and be here after him.
Right.
And now every storefront here has a profitable business, and we get by on the flow, not on his Sunday school. So he got exactly what he wanted. He was always very caring about what was going on in the downtown. Right.
Which is not like a big city in New York or Miami or even Albany or Columbus.
I've lived in New York too, so this is quite a comparison.
Quite a comparison. Like, this is not Times Square.
No, but
it is the square in Plains.
This is where it's happening in Plains.
This is a hot spot.
We meet people from all over the world, but when I ask people where they're from, what I hear the most is Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, Germany, United Kingdom, and Canada.
Really?
Now, years ago, we used to sell more Democrat stuff. Now we're selling more Republican stuff.
Really? So people that are traveling through.
Coming and going to Florida, although we've had a lot of big-name people just come to the store through the years. Some of them more exciting than others. But if I could divert for a second, my all-time favorite was John Lewis.
Really?
He came
the
in
legendary
here,
John Lewis.
I was pretty excited.
Yes.
So I walk up to him and say, "It's an honor to meet you." In his melodious voice, he said, "It's no big deal." And you know what he bought? He bought a lot of Shirley Chisholm.
Did he really? Okay, so he wanted some legacy, political.
Well, I don't know where his mind was, and he was with Cory Booker.
Okay.
And me and Cory Booker were doing jokes.
Oh Lord,
he's
my
pretty
goodness.
funny.
He is funny, and you are too.
And John Lewis wasn't the joke type, but another funny thing is he yelled from the back because he was fascinated with the walls.
Yes.
So he yells from the back, I didn't hear the punchline.
So this has really been a great second career, business venture. It's brought you a lot of joy.
It's been a simpler life, but what it has brought me is to make me a better person from association with the Carters. It's changed my whole perspective. I'm more people-oriented now, where I was more rat race-oriented. Get ahead.
Right. Just hustle, 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 hustle. So they help you to understand the spirit of giving and making the world a better place for others.
They made me realize the good points and the bad points. When I was sick, President Carter came and sat with me for a half an hour.
Did he really?
And up to that point, he knew me and I knew him.
Right.
But it wasn't a real
close friendship.
When I got sick and he spent the half an hour and we talked and prayed and whatever, that started a close relationship.
Isn't that something? The 39th president, did you ever think the 39th president of the United States would come and sit with you at your bedside?
Well, obviously not, because I didn't even believe he lived there.
But you have that. You can always hold to that. That's a priceless memory.
I've been yelled at. I mean, he does have a temper.
And he will get you straight if you need straightening.
What I tell people is, yes, he's actually normal. He is a child of the Depression. I remember one time, we were pretty crowded, and Rosa wanted something for $5, and he yells out, $5! That was the last time she ever got anything with him.
Okay, so then she
But
was
he
shocked.
would give you $50,000 for a good cause.
Oh, absolutely.
For $5, that's tough.
You have to be real smart about how they spent the money. Well, I want to thank you so much for allowing us to come in and speak with some of the other guests. This is just a remarkable place, and we're going to get some footage
I would like
of
to
this.
show you his favorite part.
Okay, and I'd love to see it. Columbus Pediatrics GA, working together to build lifelong relationships between our staff and patients by consistently providing compassion, excellence, and value with 2 locations. The Old Town office at 3580 Massey Lane, Suite F, 706-596-8667. The Midtown office, 1900 11th Avenue, Suite A, 706-323-3400, ColumbusPediatricsGA.com. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a 5-star commercial service with satisfied customers in Georgia and South Carolina, built on the principle that every detail matters. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a new season, building a family legacy. And welcome back to Straightforward. I am so excited to be in Plains, Georgia. We are getting ready to do a wonderful celebration for our beloved President Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of these United States of America, the crown jewel of Georgia, and an American treasure. And I am an official groupie. I have loved and admired him for so many years because he stands for everything that's good about America. And joining me is the amazing student from Kent State, Mason. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me.
I was so impressed when I ran across you out on the sidewalk. And you're from Ohio, and you're here to be a part of this 100th birthday celebration, and you are already blazing a trail. When I first looked at you, I thought, oh, that's a Calvin Klein model, and then he tells me he's a collector. So what do you collect?
Well, I collect political campaign items, buttons, posters, all kinds of pieces of political history, from McKinley, Carter, up to the present day.
So how long have you been doing this, and what does your collection look like? Because this store is simply amazing. Are you tracking behind this?
I could be. I have about 8,000 items.
8,000?
Going back to the 1840s.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a historian as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and so at Kent State, what are you studying?
The development of political memorabilia and the material culture of political campaign.
And so you're going to be a professor.
That's the plan.
Okay, that's the plan. But other than that, I've given you an assignment. And people that know me know I always do that. Because when I see greatness, I want to push you toward whatever that is. No, because it really speaks that at this stage in your life, you have more than 8,000 pieces. So where are we storing that? Do you have a room? Is it in the safe deposit box? I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, I have a couple rooms at home, 2 rooms at home.
A couple.
Yeah, I have posters on the walls, buttons and trays.
Okay, so who's doing the dusting? See, this is a
That would be
mom
me.
and a grandma. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a mother and a grandmother. I have two
Yeah.
grandsons in college, but you take care of your
I
collection.
take care of the preservation.
Oh, see, I'm learning. So you take care of the preservation. I like that. And so on this trip, what did you hope? Because that's coming from Ohio
It's a long trip.
to Plains, Georgia, in rural Georgia. You didn't fly in here on a private jet.
Nope.
You have to get to Georgia and then make your way here. So what is it that you wanted to get from this trip?
A deeper appreciation for the Carters. He's my favorite president and a personal hero of mine.
Yes.
Just experience the city of Plains and take into celebration 100 years of a president. It's incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
It is. And it really speaks to who he is and the goodness and the favor of his life and all the wonderful seeds he's sown. And the funniest thing today, as we were coming in, I pulled the car over and I ran to the fence of his house and started taking pictures. And I thought, it wouldn't be good if the Secret Service came out here with it. Then I was standing in the street and just really, it's a different type of excitement.
It is.
It really is. And so you'll be able to share with your students.
Yes, one day.
Yeah, that you actually experienced it here in Plains, Georgia.
The energy's palpable. It feels good to be here.
Right. And so you were able to partake in the Peanut Festival.
Yes.
And all of the good food and to just see what it's like in the culture here. Yes. Which is very different.
It's different from Ohio. Yeah.
So you can actually have ice cream and sit on the bench on the sidewalk.
Peanut butter ice cream, delicious.
Peanut butter ice cream, they're famous for that here. And all the tourists come through and the line is wrapped around, the building, people waiting in line to experience
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was worth those calories.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I thought you were a Calvin Klein. Okay. All right. And so how long will you be here? And then once this is done, will you be doing a paper, part of a study? What's going to happen?
So I'll be here through Tuesday for the 100th birthday concert that they'll have at the high school.
Right.
And then I'll develop this into a study of a paper of Carter's 100th birthday celebration. And then fold that into the greater Carter history.
See, I knew that you had a plan. I could tell that you did. And so you're going to get as much of the academic knowledge out of this, not just the tourist side, which is really wonderful. It's a great place to experience with all of this memorabilia. I mean, what can you say? When you are standing in the largest facility in the United States, and this is the thing that you want to do, then you can learn from the best, like Mr. Phillip and Miss Ramona. Right.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be your long-term resource.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've been here before, so I've got to know the couple over the years.
So you turned into a Plains groupie.
I
know, right? What young person comes to Plains more than once on vacation?
It's my 3rd time here.
3 times. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. And so your family supports you in this because they see the vision. Okay, and they have witnessed this wonderful store, and so they're going to make sure that you have all the tools.
My family's a great support. My mom's with me today on this trip. So we've just been enjoying the city and just the support from my family all throughout my collecting journey.
Journey, that's really great. So is there anything that you would like to share with the young people? Because I was so impressed that you're so young and fabulous that this would be what you would be collecting. We do have young people collecting albums and things like that, stones, precious stones. But political memorabilia, I mean, that's kind of over there.
Well, it's fun. I love the graphics on the items. And you can see how they develop over time. But the green on the Carter buttons is just wonderful. It really pops when you see it.
Right. So do you think designing some of those would be in your future? Have you designed some?
I have designed a few.
See, I figured that. Since you were so concerned about how the green popped off. That says you're paying attention to all the details. Yeah,
there's a lot to learn from collecting political items. There's a history behind each pin. Life lessons from the candidates, especially President Carter. There's a lot to learn from his incredible
And so that's why this is your third visit.
That's why. My third
All right.
visit.
And
yeah.
then you're going to witness the concert celebration, and that will be a part of the historical record for you.
I'm very lucky to experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any parting words for me? Now, I always like to tell the brilliant young people that I know have a very bright future. When you are very successful and prosperous, and I call you up, remember, I'm Gloria that you met in Plains, Georgia.
I'll pick up.
I don't want to have to tell your staff the whole story of how I met you in Plains after you just had that wonderful peanut butter ice cream. But I want to thank you all so much for traveling from Ohio. I'm a Georgia native. I love President Carter. He is the crown jewel of Georgia. He is the American treasure. And if I could just be just half the person that he is, then definitely, I'd be a better person. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much.
And it was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.
What up, world? What's up, Columbus? Be sure to tune in every Sunday, Straightforward with Gloria Strode, right here on NBC 38.
The Autism Hope Center. Diane Pope has dedicated the last 3 decades ensuring that families had support and resources for their loved ones on the autism spectrum. Join the Autism Hope Center for fellowship and resources located at 200 Hamilton Road, Suite B, or call 706-604-6333. Muskogee County Coroner Buddy Bryan. Buddy has set high standards for himself and his staff, ensuring that every citizen is treated with dignity and respect, regardless of circumstances. Buddy cares about crime prevention and is always excited to speak with students and community organizations. Reach out to Buddy at 706-653-3260.